Hey, a couple things for this shave. Finally getting to a puck that I bought on a deal, probably in the winter of, not last year, but the year before that. So almost 2 years old, and it's a puck of Agar from Stirling. Stirling's a great product. You get a good value, $15, I believe, for a tub of their product, almost 6 ounces. But you can buy refill pucks if you already have a container. And those, I think, are 4-ounce pucks, and they're maybe $11 or something like that. There's a, a step down from the container price. Maggards sold me this container. This is an old Taylor of Old Bond Street container. And they get samples out, and so then they have a lot of containers left over. So they'll sell them to you instead of throwing them away, which is pretty cool. So that's why the container shape is a little non-sterling. Agar, I believe, is another name for the oud scent. Agar wood, oud wood, all those I think are very, very, very similar. And I have discovered that I really like oud, and I really like this scent. So you can see I've pressed the soft puck down into the bottom of this. I may not like the Taylor of Old Bond Street creams. I don't think they're as good of a value for your money. They were a few dollars less than I might like them, okay. But I do really think their containers are top notch. I really seem to, I don't know, whatever about it is, but I like their containers, the way they feel and screw on. It's just very secure, and I don't know what it is. And so Agar is going to be the soap for today. I haven't even tried this puck out, I don't think. And the razor, I'm going to keep going with this Gibbs that I've got on loan. I'm going to turn it. Today's shave is going to feature it at the highest setting, the number 6. On most adjustables, I stay far away from the highest settings. The Gillette adjustables, for instance, Fat Boy, Slim, Super, I stay maybe 7. Unless I've got an old blade, then I can go a little higher. But 6 or 7 is really high as I go. But I used the next to the highest setting last shave, and it went okay. Just a little bit of blade feel. And I think that's just the way this guy is set up. He's set up to be kind of easygoing, but the geometry is there to give me a really close shave. And that's what happened last time. Just 2 passes was all I needed. Another thing I'm trying to do with this shave, a little bit of experimentation, I soaked this knot for a lot longer than I usually do. Badgers, usually 3 minutes soak, 3 to 5 minutes, but 3 minutes minimum is what I do. It seems to work well. Well, I've got this other knot. This is a Manchurian knot by That Darn Rob. And I discovered with it that I needed to soak it for longer than my usual badger soaking time. I needed to give it maybe 10-15 minutes prior to the shave, because I discovered at the end of the shave the brush was softer than the beginning. I think it's because the tips needed a little bit more soaking time to get more soft. This is a Manchurian, no doubt very similar. This knot is from Elite Razor. It's been a little bit too stiff for me for the several times I've used it. And so I'm wondering if this soak might be a magic recipe to make it work really well. So we'll just see. I'm going to stick it back in the water. I wanted you guys to be able to see it kind of shaking out a little bit at first instead of all narrow and modeled together. As usual, lather bowl, computer files link is in the description if you have a 3D printer or access to one. And throw a little water on my face. Oh, I don't have a towel. I'm going to pause you and go get one. All right, we're going to load up the brush. So we're not actually building the lather at this point. If you're new, we are moving the soap from the container to the brush. Then we will move to, you can either go right to your face and start working it to work up and build up your lather. That's phase 2. Or if you're a bowl latherer like me, you take the loaded up brush and you go to a bowl and you work it up in the bowl, and in both cases you add water until it gets to the consistency that you want. So I'm going to shake out. This knot holds a lot of water. Just shake out a lot of it. Just want kind of a lightly damp brush, at least for most of the time when I'm doing it. There's a bunch of ways. Some people like to start with a big old wet brush. Some people like a more drier one than this. All right, so we're gonna do, let's do 40 seconds. Okay, the 50 just rolled around right there. And so then it makes it easy for me to stop at 30 seconds. Because sometimes Stirling does a little bit different depending on the soap. Sometimes it needs a little bit more time. Just medium pressure. And you can tell my brush wasn't too wet because I don't have a lot of foamy stuff just rolling out of the container. 10 more seconds. Kind of a light splay. Lots of tips here, so this may be a lot of soap unnecessarily gathered, but it's a good starting point. Just a pure agar, pure oud scent. Really like that. Here's what the brush looks like after the 40-second load. Clean off the threads of this container. This is such a neat scent that it's a component to a whole lot of scents out there. And I wonder if maybe if I don't like it in its pure form here, I wonder if I might enjoy it as a component. If I have I've definitely tried some other soaps that might have performed well but had kind of one-dimensional scents, or fruity, like an orange scent or something. I think orange and oud probably go together pretty well. So there might be some out there that could benefit from a nice little tweak of oud. And this could be a nice way to bring that in and to kind of play around with formulations in a casual way. Stirling is a thirsty soap. Why don't I just go ahead and give it 2 teaspoons right off the bat. I added 1 teaspoon before, and then I added another one just now. This was I don't think Agar is one of their regular lineups. So I think this was like a beta version or something. I think they were selling it because they knew that it was really close to what they were going to put out. Yeah, that rings a bell. So it might actually be on the lineup. Got it at a great deal. Couldn't pass it up. Lather's looking nice. So 3 teaspoons now. For some soaps, that's pretty aggressive amounts of water to add to a soap. I hope I haven't overdone it, but let's just see. I believe Stirling, I know it can handle it, but you know, my perfect viscosity is as wet as I can get it, while it still remains in the creamy category. take it to that point where it stops being creamy and then back it off just a little bit. And that's where I like my soaps. It's personal preference. I think those are high performance and yet luxurious and enjoyable at the same time. Well, it looks like I have not overwatered it, so that's good. Let's show you what we've got going on here. And this might help me know whether I want to stop or not. Look at all the look at the absence of jagged ridges and pocks, and it's pretty fluid, pretty round. Do some shaking here, see how it drops. Notice we did not get a long elastic type stretch. Something to look forward to. Something to look for. Once you determine where you like your lather, that can be a landmark for you. Miles indicator that you might be nearing your personal preference. Let's do a little finger test here. Oh, I just love the slickness there. Sterling is just a nice buttery type of slickness that I really enjoy. I'm going to add another half teaspoon. Definitely going to have plenty of lather with this one. Push it down from the sides. Stuff up on the sides might not be as might be more concentrated because it's not being mixed in by the brush as much. Get a good homogeneous mixture here. Still pretty much the same. Let's add just a little bit more water. You won't go for it. Okay, so that's 4 teaspoons. Nice scent coming up to me from the bowl. One of the nice things about Sterling is a lot of their scents have a strength that I'm happy with. It matches what I like. Kind of medium in strength. A lot of new makers don't want to offend people's skin conditions and things like that, and so they put out soaps that are pretty lightly scented. This is a beautiful lather. Anybody who says they can't get a good lather out of Sterling, look at that. There we go. Look at that. I mean, that's just glorious. And this is tons of it. So looks like with this brush, I don't need a 40-second load. All right, so get my face ready. Throw a little bit of pre-shave on there and we'll rinse. All right. And now I wonder if that pre-soak is going to soften up the tips and maybe soften up the backbone a little bit on this guy. I don't think so. At least the backbone part. The tips probably are better off. It just doesn't splay very well. It takes effort to get it in the splay. and looks like I need just a little bit more water. Where's my trigger? Here. Oh man. Yeah, it needed some more water. It looked nice in the bowl, but it needed to be a little slicker. Oh, that's much better. There we go. I'll maybe add another half teaspoon to my bowl and mix that up in the break. Needs just a little bit more. All right, so the red dot is on the 6 now. Let's try the most, and we're dealing with just a day's growth, maybe even less. See what happens. Hey, not bad. Certainly doesn't feel super aggressive. So for people like me, this whole range of settings for this razor is very usable. Now the neck might be where I get a ding if I, right around here, if I don't choose my angles a little better than I have lately. Let's see what I can do here. There we go. I think I got it right. There's a spot where I have to switch directions if I'm kind of working with an aggressive setting. And there we go. I think maybe I got it right. It's always a little bit of razor burn, but it goes away usually by the end of the shave, so it's not really a bad problem. All right, rinse time. All right, so I added that half a teaspoon, and so now we're looking at 4.5 teaspoons of water in the lather. And so we'll throw this on. And here we go. Nice woody scent. It's almost like a wood as a cologne is kind of how it feels. A little bit of bitterness or, I don't know, acidic almost. I've heard aldehydes thrown around. I wonder if that's what it might be. Well, I can see why people like these Manchurians. If this one doesn't change very much, it's not going to be one that I keep around. It just doesn't splay like I prefer. All right, so first pass went down really nicely with the 6. And I'm going to be kind to myself and bring it back to the N. I wonder if they want the N to be normal, but that's between a 2 and a 4, so obviously it's a 3. Oh, and the blade that's in here, Nacet. I do have a Nacet that I've got 150 uses on. This is not it. This one, I haven't mentioned yet, but the Gibbs is a proprietary razor shape. And so if you can find them, new old stock or something like that, then you obviously you can use those blades. But it doesn't take too much fiddling to make a normal DE blade into one that is compatible with this razor. Really happy with this shave. This great little razor has given me terrific shaves this week. And rinse. And just like yesterday, my shave is so close I can quit after 2 passes. How about that? How about that? So, there we are. That aggressive setting with care, practice, at least with people of my skin type and beard type, can be used nicely to shave off some time of your shaves if you're inclined about that. It just cuts so well on that first pass that the second pass is kind of a cleanup, and I've got a really nice close shave on my problem area right here. We're good to go. Don't feel any irritation at all, and that was from the maximum setting. And I think it's because of the geometry, and I think it's also just configured not to quite go so high, would be my guess. But what did it feel like? Maybe like a Rockwell 5 at the maximum, but it held the blade better. Felt like it was more secure than like the Rockwell 5. The Rockwell, that setting would just be a lot rougher for me, as I recall. Maybe the feel of the 6 or 7 on the Fat Boys and Slims, the Gillette adjustables. Probably a little higher than the D on a car of Christopher Bradley, on the closed comb version, but not to the E level. For me, there was a huge jump from the D to the E on the Chris Bradley razor. So I might say a D.5. They hold the blades similarly. The carve will hold it more rigidly, more smoothly, because it comes to the bottom of the blade, comes closer to the edge, whereas this one is a little farther away. Looks like maybe 4 millimeters would be my guess, which is still fairly close. And I think that's why it's given, one of the reasons that it helps to give it such good shaves, smooth, controlled shaves. That's a really good little piece. So those are some of the settings to me that feel like what I just got with in the first pass with the 6. So that might help folks out there. I'm glad to be putting some Gibbs videos out there so that this wonderful little piece can be some knowledge out there as well. And so I'm very grateful that this is a loaner for the user who is loaning this to me, and I'm very grateful to be able to use it. All right, well, I'm just going to clean up and I'll be back. So I wanted to show you this this badger knot, Manchurian here. It's pretty much full of water, but look how how the shape it doesn't bounce back. And so I was starting to get some hope as I pulled this out of the soak cup after a couple hours. I thought maybe it was going to relax enough to be in the splay and be more comfortable and hold that. But I think it did improve in later passes, maybe, but it still had the kind of backbone. A little too much for me, so we'll just see. Now with these dense knots, you've got to really put them through a lot of the washing and rinsing, and I don't like to squeeze mine out very much. A lot of people do. It might be cool. I just kind of get it really wet in the bowl. I'll take the bowl and turn it to the side and just rinse like that, and then the excess water will just flow out because I've got it at a tilt. And then once everything runs clear, then I know that we're good to go. One thing to look for is if I've been down to the thing, I like to sling mine back and forth. Maybe that's good, maybe that's bad. It's been working for me, so I'm going to keep doing it. But I do that, and look at the, can you see the whiteness right here in the center? That's an indicator that we're not quite done rinsing. Still got some soap in there. Very nice, nice smell. So it looks like with this particular brush, I had tons of lather left over. Maybe even a 20-minute loading would be all I need. So that might be what I put down for next time. You know, I'm stropping this in the towel behind me, and you know, I feel these bristles move, and I think maybe the whole reason it has a little bit too much backbone for my preferences is not because the bristles have that much backbone, but it's just such a dense knot. I mean, look at these bristles. Look at that bristle density. Here's one. This is a smaller knot, but look at the density. There's just a whole lot more black right here. Now this one didn't just get finished with a shave, but maybe that'll help you to compare. And boars are even less dense, but I think the density here is really the issue, and I don't know if that's going to be improved by any more uses. I may find that this guy is just too dense for my own preferences. Good news is a lot of people love them, and for good reason. And so I'll be able to pass it on to somebody who likes that kind of density. It's a beautiful knot. Feels soft when it was wet, and it feels nice even when it's almost dry now. Got a big old bloom here. So I might be passing this along. We'll just see how she goes. I'm definitely going to keep on going with that long soak to see if that does anything, helps accelerate things. So Agar, very enjoyable. You know what? Stirling makes several soaps, and I've got several from them that are oriented toward the men's cologne type aspect. And sometimes it's a young and fresh type cologne that is enjoyable. But if you want to add a little bit of maturity to it, depth, woodiness, this guy might be a great tweak to vary it just a little bit. So I'm going to remember that. Not too many uses on this blade. I was telling you during the shave that you have to modify the regular DEs. All you do is hold them long ways this way and trim a little bit off the ends, the non-blade edges, non-blade sides, and then they'll fit down because this little guy has these two posts on both ends that the blade has to fit between, and that's all there is to it. In my other videos, my recent video, I actually, the one before this one, I showed you actually how to do it on camera. In a couple of ones before that, I just showed you what to do, and maybe displayed the blade, that sort of thing. Not going to bother with it here since I've already done it. Let's try a scent combination here by taking this Tuscany aftershave balm from Stirling. It's a kind of a wild cherry with some spices and gumption. See if after I put that on, if I can smell the oud through it. Sometimes that's a neat way to try two scents together. And I don't even feel like I really need the post-shave balm. But let's just have a little bit of moisturizing. There's probably some skin scraping that, while it may not be feeling raw, it might be good to just rehydrate. Keep my skin in good condition. Oh, I think probably got a little sun today from mowing. All right, so I've got the aftershave on. I smell that wild cherry, so then I can take my soap. Ah, now that's interesting. Huh. Huh. That might be cool. It might be just nuts, but I think they kind of go well together. All right. Well, we're good. Very good shave. My technique was on point. That little tricky spot right here that I've kind of dinged myself in the last few shaves, because this is a smooth shaver, but it's not idiot proof. A lapsing technique, or if you have skin that doesn't like against the grain passes, like my neck area, then you can definitely give yourself some razor burn if you're not careful and you don't watch your technique. And I was able to go all the way up to the 6. And it was just fine. I might not do that every day, but I bet I could if I wanted to. But I just like the smooth comfort of maybe the 2 or the 3 is kind of where my sweet spot might be. Maybe next time I'll try the 1 and see what I get. See if it's too low to actually do anything. And if you don't know this, but when you have mild razors or milder settings, the angle, the possible angle range that's going to be effective for you kind of reduces, which is normal because the blade is a little bit more recessed behind the bottom bar and the top cap. So that's normal. And sometimes that helps you as a new user. Either you're going to cut your hairs properly or it's not going to cut it very well at all. And that's nice because a aggressive razor might have either it cuts it properly or you're cutting through your skin and generating some razor rash or even cuts. And so that's kind of the range there of aggressive with compared to the mild. So nice shave, no irritation, nothing like that. I'm happy. And it was fun to finally try that soap, having it for so long. Really nice. The brush, man, I hope it comes along. I hope the backbone relaxes. That maybe the bloom opens up and it gets a little bit less dense. Who knows? And then maybe I'll be able to really enjoy it, but that's okay. If not, I can just pass it on to somebody else. All right, well, I hope there was something here for you. If you're a Gibbs aficionado or doing some research on the Gibbs, I always like to put out more Stirling videos because they're such a great buy, a good value, excellent performing soap. So I'm definitely happy to put out more Stirling videos to make sure that people know how to get good lathers from it, because I don't know, for some reason I hear that people don't have good luck with it, and I don't really know why. Maybe their just technique is different from mine and it just happens to not work as well with the Stirling. But anyway, so we're in good shape. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. You take care and good night.